Want to speak real Turkish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at turkishclass101.com.
Herkese merhaba, ben Seda. Hi everybody, my name is Seda. Welcome to turkishclass101.com. Today we will talk about a fun topic again. Etiquette in Turkey. Görgü kuralları. Görgü kuralları. We have so many. I actually don't know where to start. Let's start with the hospitality, okay? Misafirperverlik. Being invited to a Turkish home is an honor. Whenever the time is that you have been invited, doesn't matter, you should expect to eat something and drink tea. It is very common to cook and bake for your guests. Instead of just buying it, if you are living in Turkey, just keep that in mind, okay? And invite other people to your home. You should preferably cook yourself, but if you can't, don't get stressed. You can get something from a bakery and serve that as well. Don't worry. In urban homes, you'll sit at a table if you are eating regular meals, and if it's tea time, you may sit on the couch. If you are visiting a village house, however, sometimes the meal is served at a low table with cushions on the floor. So you should sit on the floor and hide your feet under the table or a cloth provided for that purpose. But honestly, I know there are some homes doing that, but I have never done that. I have never eaten like that. So I just saw it from the movies. About the food, Turkish cuisine is very rich and very delicious. So you would definitely find something you like. But we don't have a habit of asking about your allergies or food choices. We just assume. We assume that you eat everything, but don't worry. Since generally there are plenty of options, you will find something for your taste and preferences. And don't be surprised to be insisted on eating something. That's just part of our culture. We think that everybody is hungry and starving all the time. So don't get offensive. It's just a way of Turkish hospitality. And let's continue with restaurants, paying in restaurants. This part is a little bit tricky. Of course, there are all sorts of relations. But when you're dining out with someone, paying separately is not that common. Wanting to pay separately could be understood as some kind of offensive, as if you want nothing to do with that person around you. The ideal thing generally is either divide the cost by people, or if it's you that invited the people, it's a gesture to cover the whole bill. The way of Turkish hospitality suggests that the host pays for the meal. You may try and offer to pay, but you would never be allowed to do so. You may see other Turkish men fighting over, who will pay the bill. It's so funny. So that's a regular scene. And most business gatherings take place in restaurants. We, like the Italians, enjoy eating together. And if someone invites you to a dinner, either at their homes or at a restaurant, the proper way of thinking is to invite them to a place of your choice and pay or prepare the meal yourself. And tea and Turkish coffee is served at the end of most of the meals, every meal. Turkish coffee is a national drink. They ask how you drink it, because if you prefer sugar, it's prepared with sugar beforehand. You wouldn't add it afterwards like the regular coffee. And don't drink the bottom of the cup. This is the cup. It will be full of coffee, ground coffee. You are supposed to leave that part at the bottom. And some people use this, the part of fortune telling. Let me show you. After you drink it, you just cover it like this. And you let it cool down. Sometimes you put a coin or your ring here, so it cools down easily. And then you hold it like this and you read the signs. And generally someone else do it for you rather than you're doing yourself. And you do this and read this part. And one more note about being a host: you never say, "Can you leave please," to your guest. It's considered very rude. Let me tell you an anecdote. When I was living in another country for some time, the first time I was visiting a friend, I was asked to leave around 9:30 p.m. The host said to me that she needed to get up early the next day and I needed to leave. And I thought it was so rude and was offended at first. Then I learned that it was part of their culture. But in Turkey, even if you have to get up early, you are tired, you wouldn't say that your guests should leave. The guests are a big part of the culture, and we have a saying for it: Tanrı misafiri, Tanrı misafiri, translating as a guest of God. Um, Especially if you are traveling in villages and you say you're hungry, for example. People will give you food for free. They will invite you their home, and sometimes they will offer you a bed because you're a guest of God and it's expected to honor the guests. Okay, that's it. And dress code. What is acceptable and not dress wise depends on which part of the country or which part of a city you are visiting. Beaches, for example, during summer are, as I guess, everywhere. You can swim in bathing suits, or if you want to dress more modestly, then that's okay too. And in Turkey, there are all sorts of different people. Some women cover their heads, some not. Some men dress more conservatively, some not. Overall, it's up to the people. And of course, some places require certain dress codes. On beaches, for example, you are expected wear beachwear. And in mosques, both men and women should dress more conservatively. Shoulders and legs should be covered. Women expected to cover their heads, but it's okay to put a shawl around head. No one expects you to cover fully. And in daily life, dress however you like. Observe your surroundings and dress accordingly. I think it's like that in every culture. You should be observant about where you are. And bargaining. This gets asked a lot. Bargaining in regular shops are not that common actually. Most people think that bargaining is acceptable everywhere, but outside of bazaars and weekly markets, it's not common at all. And regular customers can be treated generally in their neighborhood though. And body language. Yeah, let's talk about body language. Let me show you some gestures that we do in our daily life. Hayır, hayır, saying no. Hayır. This means no. Hayır. Lezzetli or very good. When we like something, this is what we do. Sometimes. Hayır, teşekkürler. Or just like this. Put your right hand to your heart. No, thank you. That's enough. And this is when we think that someone is going nuts, crazy. Okay, these are the ones that I can think of it right now. About other things. Passing gas in public is not acceptable, and we don't generally blow our nose loudly in public. We just dab it like that with a tissue. We dab it. Don't go like in public areas. And smoking. A lot of people still smoke in Turkey. I don't, but a lot of people do. But things have changed in recent years. Smoking was banned in all public areas, including bars, cafes, restaurants, and clubs, and transportations. But people do smoke outside of those places in the open air. So know about that. And when meeting formally, we shake hands, and friends and relatives would greet each other with like 2 kisses on the cheek and a pat on the back. Like, this is not like just exact like a kiss, but it's like touching your cheeks together. But it should be 2. But with the COVID and all, everyone keeps their distance, But the culture is like that. Mm. Okay, the communication. Turkish people generally prefer to do business with those they know and respect. And therefore, they spend time establishing a personal relationship. So you cannot exactly separate business and personal lives. And conversation may start slowly with many questions that may seem irrelevant to the purpose of your visit. There can be questions about your family, children, and so on. It's not prying. That's the way Turks talk. Don't get offensive and say, it's personal, or ask them to get to the point. It will be considered rude. You can ask them back, like, how's your family? How's your kids, wife, husband, blah, blah, blah. And personal space. Turkish people do not require as much personal space one would want. They will stand close to you while conversing, and that bothers me a lot. Actually, I like my personal space, but don't get offensive. It's like they don't know where to stop. So, naming, addressing a person. When addressing a Turkish person, the most common way is to call a man by his first name, followed by bey, such as Ahmet Bey, and a woman, her first name, followed by hanım, such as Seda Hanım. Okay? You can also hear efendim a lot. It is said generally by service staff, such as from a waiter, secretary, taxi driver, doorman, shop staff, etc. But also you answer the phone like that. Alo, efendim, in a sense like so. Hello, what? Efendim. Okay. Okay, I think these are the basics, and I think we covered a lot. Which ones are weird for you, and which ones are similar to your culture? Leave some comments about your own culture. Share your own culture's funny social rules and etiquettes. Talk about the personal space and smoking, and do you kiss twice? Do you kiss once, or maybe 3 times? I don't know. Like, write your own culture's different weird etiquette. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope I will see you next time. Take care. Kendinize iyi bakın. Görüşürüz. Hey guys, I'm Seda. Merhaba, ben Seda. Welcome to TurkishClass101.com. Today we'll talk about top 10 Turkish dishes that you should try. Top 10 Turkish dishes. It's hard to say. This was a hard pick because Turkish cuisine is really, really rich, and actually when you talk about the different food, it's really hard because it's up to which region you are talking about. If you go to for example, the eastern part, southern part, the dishes over there are more influenced. It's more like a mixture of Syrian, Iranian, Arabic, and the Kurdish, Turkish. It's all a mix over there. If you go to the northern part, it's again different. The southern part is different. If you go to the Aegean side, it's more like Greek food, and we have similar name with the Greek culture, the Arabic culture. So it's kind of a huge mix, and Ottoman Empire had a really, really wide range of kitchen cuisine culture. So if you're into those kind of things, I suggest you search for it, learn more about it. But today we'll just talk about 10 dishes. So this was a hard pick, but the first one should be kebab. Kebab, actually, it's a generic name for a lot of dishes. Kebab is the meat, of course, the red meat, diced red meat. It's not like the important thing with the kebab that you dice the meat with hands, not with the dicing machine. I don't know what's that called, but you dice really, really thin, and you add stuff. And it's actually, we have a lot of different kebabs. We have patlıcan kebab, we have Urfa, we have Adana. Actually, the Adana and Urfa, they are I think the simplest kebabs. the meat. It can be in durum, the wrap one. But other than that, you know, you can add some salads next to it, but it's a basic kebab. But the difference is the Adana kebab is the hot, the spicy one, and Urfa kebab is the, you know, plain one. So if you go to a restaurant, if you say Adana, then you'll be getting the spicy, very hot one. So be careful about it. We have Iskender kebab, that's also special, and it's from Bursa region. Iskender kebab is on like a sliced bread, not regular bread, but like pita bread, pide we call it, and you put the kebab, the döner on top of it, and you put some yogurt, you put some tomato sauce, and you put some melted butter. It's so delicious. I really like it. It's more like döner than kebab, but it's called Iskender kebab. So we have, of course, a lot of different kebabs. You should try them all. Like if you eat meat, you should try them all in their own region, actually. Okay, so the first one was kebab. The second one is, let me check, lahmacun. Lahmacun is like this thin, it's like Turkish pizza. Actually, I think it's called Turkish pizza. It's round and it's very, very thin. It's not like pizza at all, because like it's, when you think about it, it's like 4 pizza. You can put 4 lahmacun on top of each other, and it's that thin. It's not like pizza. It's a very thin dough. On top of it, it's a mixture of red meat, diced red meat, tomato sauce, some onions and some herbs, and they mix it, they put it in, and they put it in the not like the oven, but the, you know, with the special places they put the lahmacun in, and you eat it. And generally, you know, you don't eat it with like knives and forks. The way I eat, I put some parsley. They generally bring some parsley, salad, and tomatoes with it. You put stuff in it. I just like to add parsley. You add it in the middle of the lahmacun, and then you roll it. And you make it like a wrapped sandwich, and you eat it like that. Generally, you drink ayran, yogurt drink, or shalgam, some kind of fermented carrot drink with it. It's again great. You should try it. You couldn't go wrong with it. And let's go and check the third one. Oh my god, this is also great. I think I'm hungry now. This is yaprak sarma. It's stuffed or rolled grape leaves. Yes, grape leaves. We pick grape leaves, the fresh ones, the thin ones, not the very veiny or thick ones, because they don't taste that good, but the fresh grape leaves, and we boil them, and we put some things in it, and we just roll it like that, and we cook it. Then it's really delicious. It can be with meat, with diced red meat, or it can be with just some rice and other kinds of herbs. If it's with rice and olive oil, then you eat it cold, like a appetizer. If it's with meat, you eat it with when you eat it heated, and generally you eat it with yogurt. So that's it. And let's check the other one. Okay, the fourth is moussaka. I think this is the same word in Greek, moussaka. They call it moussaka. It's again a generic name. It's like kebab, or it's like dolma. Moussaka is a dish when you do it with onion and diced meat. You just if you do it with for example potato, then it's patates musakkası. If you do it with eggplant, it's patlıcan musakka. or if you do it with zucchini, it's kabak musakka. So this is a very home cooked meal, but you can eat it in restaurants as well. Especially there are restaurants that you can go and eat homemade dishes. So moussaka is one of them, and I really like moussaka. I really love cooking moussaka. You just, stir some onion, add some red meat in it, add some herbs, and add your vegetables, and very delicious. Okay, the fifth one is mantı, and mantı is, I don't know if you know it, but it's normally people do it themselves, some people, but it takes some time to do it. So you can get it, from the stores, or you can go someplace and eat it as well. Traditional homes, they generally do it themselves. It's kind of a ravioli dish with meat in it. I think everything in Turkish, no, not everything, but a lot of things has meat in it. They make a big dough and they cut it really small, and the smaller the mantı, the better it is. And inside of that square-shaped, something like that, square-shaped little dough, you put some meat, and not just meat, but with the onions, garlic, and tomato sauce. I don't know what they exactly put in it, and you make it like some kind of packet. Ravioli look like ravioli, and you make them ready. Then you boil them, and after you boil them, you put some yogurt on it. You put some red pepper, and with the oil. And it's sometimes you make a tomato sauce and you put on it, and you add some mint. Then you eat it. It's great. I really love mantı. I think I love all these dishes. Okay, the next one is börek. Börek. The sixth one is börek. This is also a generic food because you can make different kinds of böreks. Börek is some kind of pastry. Either you can make it on a big, I don't know, something really big that you put in the oven, and then after it's cooked you cut it and eat it in slices, or you can just make it like really thin, something like dolma. You cut it in a triangle, you put stuff in it, you roll it, and then you fry it. And you can eat it like that. It can be with vegetables, something like spinach. It can be with cheese. It can be with meat. We have so many different kind of böreks everywhere. And if you go somewhere, and if we eat it in during breakfast. If you go and have a breakfast, the traditional Turkish breakfast, they will bring you some kind of Turkish börek with the we call it sigara böreği. It's like cigarette pastry. I don't know why we call it cigarette, but I think it's because it's look like a rolled and kind of cigarette. I don't know. So börek is also very Turkish. And the next one, it's a dessert, baklava. I don't know if you heard it, but I can't make it. It's hard to make it yourself. But it's a like really thin layer of dough, but a special dough for baklava, and you put those, and you put some syrup on it, and you put some, I especially like it with pistachio, but there are a lot of different kinds. There is plain walnut with walnuts, and I don't know, a lot of things they can put it in it. But after they do it, I don't know how exactly they do it, but it's very crunchy. If it's especially if it's freshly baked, it's like really thin, really crunchy, and amazing. You should absolutely try a good baklava. Ask a Turkish person where to eat a good baklava, not an old like very syrupy, very sweet ones, but the fresh, the cooked, perfect baklava, and eat it, okay? I don't care if you think you like it or not, but I'm sure you like it, so try it. So, the next one is meze. I chose meze because it's not a dish, but it's like a concept of appetizers. Especially in Asian areas, we have mezes for if you are, for example, eating meat, or if you are gonna eat fish, especially if you are drinking rakı. It's again a Turkish alcoholic drink. You would have different kinds of mezes. Generally, these are all cold. Some of them are the ocean-based and cooked. Some of the mezes are, for example, börek can be a meze, but most of them are olive oiled, cold dishes, and these are. We have a lot of things common with Greek mezes, I think. For example, we have a lot of yogurty mezes with, like, we call it haydari. We have patlıcan salatası, like salad, eggplant salad. We have different kinds of mezes. If you go to a restaurant and if you are having a nice dinner, you should pick some of the mezes and try. I'm sure you'll like them. And the next one is çiğ köfte. It's actually çiğ köfte. This is raw. Çiğ means raw, köfte means meatball, and this could be a different video by itself. The köftes of, Turkish köftes, Turkish meatballs. We have so many different meatballs, and they are all cooked and prepared differently. This çiğ köfte, it is actually raw. You don't cook it, the meat, but they do it with spices. They cook the meat, they cook the red meat with spices. They do this for hours, and I don't know if it's for hours. I didn't make it myself, but they do it with herbs and with onions. Especially, they use a lot of spicy hot pepper to cook the meat. So the meat will be cooked and will be ready for to be eaten. And generally, you put it in a green salad. You squeeze some lemon on it, then you eat it like that. But sometimes they bring some kind of pita bread with it, but generally you should eat it with greens. Okay, now the last one is menemen. Menemen is like a lifesaver. Even if you don't know anything how to cook, everybody, I think, can make a menemen in Turkey, and it's so delicious. You can't believe it. It's an egg, actually. It's a tomato sauce scrambled egg. And there's a debate in Turkey that if menemen should be with onions, without onions. Some people say it can't be a menemen without onions. Some people say no, it won't be a menemen with onions. But I love them both, so for me it's okay, no big deal. But normally you dice some tomatoes, you dice some peppers, green peppers. If you like hot peppers, you dice some hot peppers. If you like, you dice some onions, you cook them, and you just break some eggs, mix it, then grab some freshly baked bread from somewhere, and you just dip it and eat it like that. This is normally for breakfast, but you can eat it anytime. It's so easy. In 10 minutes it will be ready and it will be delicious. So that's it. These were the 10 dishes that you would like, you should try. And please leave some comments below that if you tried one of these, if you like them, or which food would you like to try in future if you come and visit Turkey. Thank you very much. I will see you later. Bye.
Herkese merhaba, ben Zehra. Yaz tatili yine kış tatili gibi ilk ve orta dereceli okulların erken açılma politikasına göre değişkenlik göstererek genelde Haziran'ın ilk haftasından Eylül'ün ikinci haftasına kadar süren yaklaşık 3 aylık bir zaman dilimini kapsar. Bu derste Türkiye'de yaz tatili etkinliklerine dair genel bilgiler edineceksiniz. Türkiye'de bazı öğrencilerin tatillerini kısa kesmelerinin sebebini biliyor musunuz? Cevabı bu videonun sonunda göstereceğiz. Yıl sonu karnelerinin alınmasıyla öğrenciler ve özellikle devlet okullarındaki öğretmenler için 3 aylık bir dinlenme süreci başlar. Sınıfını geçen başarılı öğrencilere bisiklet, paten gibi açık havada yapılabilecek yıl sonu hediyeleri alınır. Aileler yıllık izinlerini yaz tatillerine denk getirmeye çalışırlar ve Türkiye'nin batı ve güney sahillerindeki otel ve tatil köylerine akın ederler. Yaz tatili Türkiye'de çoğunluk için deniz, güneş, kumsal demektir. Yüzmek, güneşlenmek ve çeşitli su sporları en çok tercih edilen aktivitelerdendir. Üniversite öğrencilerinin genelde Haziran'da başlayan tatilleri Ekim ortasına kadar devam eder. Bu uzun sürede yine ucuz olan çoğunlukla rafting, kano, sörf ve plaj voleybolu gibi spor aktivitelerinin ağırlıklı olduğu yaz kamplarını tercih ederler. Tatil boyunca hem öğrenciler hem de aileler tarafından kamp alanları sıklıkla kullanılır. Çadırlar kurulur, kamp ateşleri yakılır, mangalda pişirilen et eşliğinde piknikler yapılır. Çocuklar için hamak ve salıncaklar kurulur. Erkekler kendi aralarında futbol oynamayı tercih ederler. Türkler yıllık izinlerinin tamamını genelde yazın kullanmayı tercih eder. Ege'de gece hayatı ve doğal güzellikleriyle meşhur Çeşme, Bodrum, Datça ve Marmaris, Akdeniz'de ise tarihi ve uzun ince kumlarıyla ünlü Antalya ve Alanya tercih edilir. Yaz tatillerinde büyük şehirler memleketlerine dönen ve yaz tatiline çıkan çoğunluk sebebiyle kalabalık değildirler. Uçak biletlerinin en pahalı olduğu aylar özellikle Temmuz ve Ağustos aylarıdır. Yaz pikniklerinin bir diğer vazgeçilmezi karpuz ve çekirdektir. Soğusun diye denizde sığ suya yatırılan karpuz kesilir ve beyaz peynir eşliğinde tüketilir. Çekirdek ise uzun yaz sohbetlerinin vazgeçilmez kuru yemişidir. Ve şimdi size deminki quizin cevabını vereceğim. Türkiye'de bazı öğrencilerin tatillerini kısa kesmelerinin sebebini biliyor musunuz? 12. sınıfa geçen öğrenciler, yüksek öğretime geçiş sınavı YGS ve lisans yerleştirme sınavı LYS hazırlıkları için yaz tatillerini kısa keserler. Ayrıca ortaokul öğrencileri orta öğretime geçiş seviye belirleme sınavı SBS için çalışmalarına erken başlarlar. Herkese merhaba, ben Zehra. Her yıl 10 Kasım, Atatürk'ün hayatı, başarıları, ilke ve inkılaplarının değerini anlamak amacıyla onun ölüm yıl dönümünde anılır. O, dağılmakta olan Osmanlı'dan bir cumhuriyet yaratmıştır. Bu derste 10 Kasım Atatürk'ü anma gününde yapılan etkileyici anma töreni ve Türk vatandaşları için önemi hakkında bilgiler edineceksiniz. Yakın Türk tarihinde etkili olan Atatürk'ün 6 ilkesini sayabilir misiniz? Cevabı bu videonun sonunda göstereceğiz. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk 10 Kasım 1938 yılında saat 9'u 5 geçe Dolmabahçe Sarayı'nda siroz hastalığından vefat etmiştir. Tabutu Türk bayrağına sarılı bir katafalk üzerinde bir müddet yasa boğulan İstanbul halkının ziyaretine açılmıştır. Cenaze namazı ve alayından sonra 15 yıl boyunca Anıtkabir yapılana kadar mermer bir lahit içinde Ankara Etnografya Müzesi'nde kalmıştır. Daha sonra Anıtkabir'e nakledilmiştir. Her yıl 10 Kasım'da saat 9'u 5 geçe Türkiye genelinde 1 dakika boyunca sirenler çalmaya başlar. Trafikteki araçlar durur, içindekiler iner ve ayakta dururlar. İş yerindekiler ara verir ve ayağa kalkarlar. Okullarda ise zaten anma törenine hazır olan öğrenciler toplantı salonlarında ayağa kalkarlar. Hayat adeta durur ve siren sesleri eşliğinde 1 dakika saygı duruşunda bulunulur. Hemen arkasından okullarda ve resmi yerlerde İstiklal Marşı okunur. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, barış, demokrasi, laiklik, temel hak ve özgürlükleri savunan bir komutan, devrimci, bir devlet adamı ve aynı zamanda akademik çalışmalara meraklı bir araştırmacıydı. Her ne kadar günümüzde kendisine verilen önem bazıları tarafından aşırı milliyetçi bulunup eleştirilse de, ileri görüşlülüğü, düşünceleri ve askeri başarısıyla uluslararası bir üne sahip olup saygı görmüştür. Kendisinin ünlü sözlerinden biri, düşüncelerini özetler niteliktedir. Yurtta barış, cihanda barış. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk soyadı 1934'te soyadı kanunundan hemen sonra ata ve Türk sözcükleri birleştirilerek meclis onayıyla verilmiştir. Şimdi size deminki quizin cevabını vereceğim. Yakın Türk tarihinde etkili olan Atatürk'ün 6 ilkesini sayabilir misiniz? Bu ilkeler cumhuriyetçilik, halkçılık, laiklik, inkılapçılık, milliyetçilik ve devletçiliktir. Herkese merhaba, ben Zehra. İşçi ve emekçiler tarafından dünyaca kutlanan birlik, dayanışma, eşitsizlik ve haksızlıklarla mücadele günü Türkiye'de 1 Mayıs'ta kutlanır ve 2009 yılında resmi tatil ilan edilmiştir. Bu derste Emek ve Dayanışma Günü adıyla bilinen İşçi ve Emekçiler Bayramı'nın Türkiye'nin yakın tarihi açısından önemini ve nasıl kutlandığını hakkında bilgi sahibi olacaksınız. Bu bayram Türkiye'de başka bir isimle daha bilinir. 1935 yılında 1 Mayıs'a verilen bu diğer isim nedir? Cevabı bu videonun sonunda göstereceğiz. 1 Mayıs Emek ve Dayanışma Günü, tüm dünyada olduğu gibi Türkiye'de de zaman zaman olaylı yaşanmıştır. Özellikle Türkiye Cumhuriyeti'nin tarihindeki askeri darbelerde gerçekleşen sıkı yönetim zamanlarında 1 Mayıs'ın kutlanmasının yasaklandığı dönemler olmuştur. Sendikalaşma, çalışma saatleri ve koşulları, düşük maaşlar, işçilerin en çok şikayet ettikleri konulardandır. Kitlesel katılımın en büyük olduğu en trajik 1 Mayıs 1977 yılında yaşandı. Gösteriye İstanbul Taksim Meydanı'nda bir araya gelen yüz binlerce emekçi ve işçinin yanı sıra öğretmenler, öğrenciler de kadın erkek demeden katılmışlardı. Dönemin DİSK Başkanı'nın konuşması sırasında çevredeki binaların çatı katından kalabalığa ateş açıldı. Meydanda izdiham yaşandı ve onlarca kişi hayatını kaybetti ve yaralandı. 1977 yılından sonra bir diğer üzücü 1 Mayıs ne yazık ki çok yakın bir tarih olan 2013 baharında yaşanmıştır. Kentsel Dönüşüm Projesi adı altında rant amaçlı Taksim'i yayalaştırma projesi öne sürülerek 1 Mayıs'ın Taksim Meydanı'nda kutlanması yasaklanmıştır. Buna rağmen kutlamaya çalışan bir gruba polis, biber gazı ve tazyikli su ile müdahale etmiştir. Emek ve Dayanışma Bayramı, 20. yüzyılın başında Osmanlı döneminde ilk defa işçi bayramı olarak işçi örgütlenmesinin en gelişmiş olduğu Selanik'teki tütün ve pamuk işçileri tarafından kutlandı. Ve şimdi size deminki quizin cevabını vereceğim. Bu bayram Türkiye'de başka bir isimle daha bilinir. 1935 yılında 1 Mayıs'a verilen bir diğer isim nedir? 1935 yılında siyasi kimliğini değiştirme amaçlı Bahar ve Çiçek Bayramı ismi verilmiş ve bir gün süreyle ücretsiz tatil ilan edilmiştir.
Hey, merhaba. Seda here again. Ben Seda. Nasılsınız? Her şey yolunda mı? Ben çok iyiyim. Are you guys ready for today's topic? We have a fun topic. We will talk about top 10 popular TV shows in Turkey. I have a confession to make. I don't watch regular TV. I have Netflix and I enjoy watching shows there. So I had to search a little to see what is being watched most nowadays. So let's start with the shows first, okay? Are you ready? Are you ready? There's a famous TV producer named Acun Ilıcalı, and over the years, he produced a lot of shows that were hit in Turkey, and most of them were global shows made local. And two of them are very popular right now. One is just finished, and the other is just started. Another season. They have seasons also. The first one is MasterChef. I think this is also a global show. It's a cooking contest. There's not much that I can tell you about it. The other one is Survivor. People are going crazy with this show. There are teams and they are racing each other with a lot of physical games and different challenges. And this show is on a nice tropical island. I don't remember which one. And everyone enjoys watching it. Okay, let's continue with the third. The next two ones are new series. There's a psychologist, real psychologist, named Gülseren Budayıcıoğlu. And these two series are created from her books. These books are based on real sessions she had with her patients. And the books got turned into series and now they are very popular. So the first one is Masumlar Apartmanı. You can translate it as apartment of the innocence, apartments of innocence. In Turkey, it's very popular right now. It's a dysfunctional family with cleaning obsessive siblings living together and having all sorts of trauma. And the other one is again from the same author, Kırmızı Oda, which means red room. And that show is about a psychiatrist and her patients, and every week is about another session of trauma. So with all these trauma cases, these two psychology series are very, very, very popular right now. Okay, that was 4. Let's continue with the next one. The next one is a comedy show called Çok Güzel Hareketler. You can translate it, very nice gestures. This is a different kind of show. It's actually a theater. Yılmaz Erdoğan, a famous actor, he has his own theater company called BKM, Beşiktaş Kültür Merkezi. And he's educating young actors there. And these young actors write and play their own sketches every week. And it is recorded and broadcasted every week on television. And Yılmaz Erdoğan watches them and he comments on their sketches, you know, how they played, how they wrote the sketches and so on. It's fun to watch. Okay, the next one is something kind of weird. Müge Anlı ile Tatlı Sert, Bittersweet with Müge Anlı. It's a morning show that mostly, you know, housewives watch, but it's kind of a popular show. This woman named Müge Anlı, the narrator, finds weird criminal cases and she acts like a judge who tries to figure out who murdered or kidnapped whom and so on. The people who participate in the show are generally from uneducated, more conservative, low-income neighborhoods. And the cases are so weird and mind-blowing, you wouldn't believe. I don't understand why, but lots of people love this show. So, okay, let's see what is next. The next two are Netflix Turkey productions. The first one is Bir Başkadır, known as Ethos in English. Not an exact translation though. There's a new show, this is a new show, mini series actually, maybe 5-6 episodes. It's about individuals transcend their cultural boundaries and find some kind of connection between their own story and, you know, as their lives intertwine. So it's a fine show. And the other one is Atiye, known as The Gift in English. And Atiye is a young painter artist who lives in Istanbul and draws some kind of symbol for all her life. And she sees that symbol in Göbekli Tepe ruins, and the ruins are just discovered, and she draws the same symbol for years. So it's weird for her, and she starts going after this mystery. After this discovery, some kind of Indiana Jones adventures start. So that's it for the Atiye. You should watch the rest, otherwise I will give some spoilers. The next two is about Ottoman Empire. One is new and the other is an older show. The first one is Kurtuluş Ertuğrul, something like a founder Ertuğrul. And this is about Ertuğrul Gazi, the founder of the Ottoman Empire, and about those times that he was establishing a new state. And the next one is Muhteşem Yüzyıl, the magnificent century, you would say. And this is about Kanuni Sultan Süleyman, Süleyman the Magnificent, and his era. And these are historical series, but keep in mind that they are fictional. Sometimes people think that the history was just like how it was in the show. It's fictional, meaning not everything happened in the show happened in real life, just like that. And in Turkey, these kind of historical shows are generally a bit politic. I mean, whomever has the power affects the outcome of these shows. So they are both a little politic and fictional, but yet loved very much. So that's it, guys. I'm done with the shows. Have you seen any of them? Did you like them? Did you like them? I think the Süleyman, especially foreigners love it a lot. What do you think? Leave some comments. Okay? And don't forget that we have a lot of shows. We have a lot of movies, these kind of morning shows, late night contests, series, a lot of it. But, I try to put together 10 most loved ones. So you have to search for the rest yourself. Sorry. Okay, leave some comments below. I will see you next time. Görüşmek üzere. Bye.
Herkese merhaba, ben Zehra. Nevruz, doğudan batıya, geniş bir coğrafyada, çeşitli adlarla bilinen çok eski bir bayramdır. Her kültürün kendi özelliklerinden etkilenerek zenginleşmiştir. İslamiyet'te kutlanmasa da, İslamiyet öncesi Türklerin kutladığı ilk bayramlardan biri olarak günümüze kadar gelmiştir. Kışın bitip baharın başlaması müjdelenir. Bu derste geniş bir coğrafyada yer bulan Nevruz Bayramı'nın Türkiye'de kimler tarafından nasıl kutlandığını öğreneceksiniz. Nevruz Bayramı birçok farklı kültürde kutlanır. Peki Nevruz'un kelime anlamını ve kökenini biliyor musunuz? Cevabı bu videonun sonunda göstereceğiz. Nevruz Bayramı ile ilgili Afganlarda, Kırım Tatarlarında ve Kürtlerde birçok farklı gelenek olmasına rağmen bu derste Türk Nevruz geleneklerine değineceğiz. Türklerin İslamiyet öncesi kökenleri olduğuna inanılan Göktürklerin Ergenekon destanında zamanla yaşadıkları bölgeye sığamayan Türk kavimlerinin demirden bir dağı eritip göç etmeye başladığı söylenir. 12 hayvanlı eski Türk takviminde gece ve gündüzün eşitlendiği 21 Mart yılbaşı kabul edilir. Nevruz Bayramı Selçuklular ve Osmanlı İmparatorluğu zamanında da milli bayram olarak Nevruziye adında şiirlerin ve çeşitli etkinliklerin yapıldığı ziyafetli şenliklerle kutlanırdı. Günümüzde Manisa'da hala bugüne özel hazırlanmış mesir macunu şenlikleri yapılmaktadır. Özellikle yabancı turistlerin ilgisini çeken bu şenlik, Osmanlı'dan beri yaklaşık 500 yıldır devam etmektedir. Festivalin en renkli olayı camiden halka 41 farklı baharattan oluşan bu mesir macununun saçılmasıdır. Mesir macunu saçma festivalini UNESCO Manevi Kültür Mirası listesine eklemiştir. Efsaneye göre Kanuni Sultan Süleyman'ın annesi Hafsa Sultan, hastalandığında Manisa Sultan Camii Medresesi'nin başına getirilen bir kişi tarafından çeşitli baharatlarla hazırlanmış bu macun onu sağlığına kavuşturur. Hafsa Sultan da cami minarelerinden bu macunun halka saçılarak dağıtılmasını ister. Bugün ayrıca baharın gelişi, doğanın kış uykusundan uyanışı, bereket ve bolluk kutlanır. Büyük bir ateş yakılıp üzerinden atlanarak kutlamalar yapılır. Anadolu'da mesir macununun çok faydalı olduğuna ve şifa verdiğine inanılır. Özellikle ağrıya, soğuk algınlığına ve iştahsızlıklara iyi geldiği söylenir. Enerji verir. Ve şimdi size deminki quizin cevabını vereceğim. Nevruz Bayramı birçok farklı kültürde kutlanır. Peki Nevruz'un kelime anlamını ve kökenini biliyor musunuz? Büyük ünlü uyumuna uymayan Nevruz kelimesi Türkçe değildir. Pers kökenli bu kelime Türk, Ermeni ve Gürcü dilleri tarafından ufak değişikliklerle kullanılmaktadır. Herkese merhaba, ben Zehra. Hıdrellez hem İslamiyet'e hem de İslamiyet öncesi Türk inanış ve mitolojisine dayanan mevsimlik bir Türk bayramıdır. Miladi takvime göre 6 Mayıs olarak belirlenmiştir. Hızır ve İlyas peygamberlerin yeryüzünde buluşup bereket saçtıkları gün olarak bilinir. Bu derste bir Türk bayramı olan Hıdrellez geleneklerini ve efsanelerini öğreneceksiniz. Hızır peygamber kimdir? Türkler için neyi temsil eder? Cevabı bu videonun sonunda göstereceğiz. Kutlamalar, çayırlık, su kenarı, türbe ya da yatırbaşı gibi doğayla iç içe olunabilen alanlarda yapılmaktadır. Açık havadaki yeşillik alanlara bu nedenle hıdırlık denildiği de olur. Baharın taze bitkileri, taze kuzu eti ya da kuzu ciğeri tüketilir. Baharın ilk kuzusu yenildiği zaman şifa bulunacağına inanılır. Bugüne ait masal ve efsaneler çok çeşitli ve eğlencelidir. Örneğin çiçek veya ot toplanır, kaynatılır ve bu su ile 40 gün yıkanılırsa gençleşileceğine inanılır. Gecesinde Hızır'ın uğradığı yerlere bereket vereceği inancı vardır. Camlar Hızır'ın ruhunun dolaşması için açık bırakılır. Para keselerinin ağızları açık bırakılır. Hıdrellez gecesi hamurdan ev, araba, aşk ve benzeri dilekler pişirilir ve kırmızı bir kurdeleyle gül ağacının altına asılır. Daha sonra dilek dilenerek bir ateş yakılır ve üzerinden atlanır. Güneş doğmadan bu adaklar toplanır. Dere veya deniz gibi akan bir suya bırakılır. Diğer gelenekler arasında baht açmak, şans ve kısmet getirmek önemli yer tutar. Uygulamalardan biri de baht çömleğidir. Su dolu bir çömleğin içine özellikle mahallenin evlenmek isteyen genç kızları kendilerine ait para, boncuk, küpe gibi eşyayı niyet tutarak koyarlar. Gece gül ağacının altında bekletilen çömlek, ertesi gün başı beyaz tülle örtülü gelinlik çağına gelmiş bir kız tarafından maniler söylenerek açılır. Kız kimin boncuğunu ilk çekerse o kişinin bahtı açılmıştır. Yoğurt mayalama, Türklerin yemek kültürünün temelidir. Anadolu'da Hıdrellez günü, tan vakti, bitkilerin üzerinden toplanan çiğ taneleriyle maya yapılır. Ve şimdi size deminki quizin cevabını vereceğim. Hızır peygamber kimdir? Türkler için neyi temsil eder? Hızır, İslamiyet, Mezopotamya, Akdeniz, İran ve eski Türk geleneklerinden etkilenmiş, yaz günlerinin gelişini müjdeleyen, temiz kalpli insanlara yardım ettiğine inanılan, uğur sembolü ve mucize sahibi biri, Allah'ın elçisidir. aslında baharın ve hayatın sembolüdür. Herkese merhaba, ben Zehra. İstanbul'un fethi 29 Mayıs 1453'te Sultan II. Mehmet yönetimindeki Osmanlı ordusunun şehri kuşatıp Bizans'ın başkenti Konstantinopolis'i ele geçirmesiyle gerçekleşmiştir. Bu fetihle Avrupa'daki politik ve dini bütün dengeler değişmiş, Osmanlı imparatorluk haline gelmiştir. Bu derste İstanbul'un fethi kutlamalarını ve Avrupa tarihi açısından önemini öğreneceksiniz. Bu önemli tarihi olayın ismi sizce neden Türkçe ve İngilizce'de de birbirinden farklıdır? Cevabı bu videonun sonunda göstereceğiz. İstanbul'un fethi hem Avrupa hem de dünya tarihi açısından pek çok değişiklik getirmiştir. Tarihteki en önemli devletlerden olan 10 asırlık Doğu Roma yani Bizans İmparatorluğu yıkılmıştır. Tarihte Orta Çağ kapanmış, Fransız ihtilaline kadar sürecek olan yeni çağ başlamıştır. İkinci Mehmet bu fetihten sonra tarihte Fatih Sultan Mehmet olarak anılmaya başlar. Kuşatmanın en stratejik noktası hiç kuşkusuz ki gemilerin karadan Haliç'e indirilmesidir. Fatih Sultan Mehmet'in ileri görüşlü girişimciliğiyle gerçekleşen bu olayda Dolmabahçe'den Beyoğlu'na yağlı kazıklar döşenmiştir. Gemiler arabaların üzerine oturtulmuş, öküzler bu arabalara bağlanmış ve bir gecede bütün donanma Haliç'e kara üzerinden geçirilmiştir. Gemileri karadan yürütme fikri kuşatmanın dönüm noktası olmuştur. İstanbul'un fethi her yıl Haliç, Balat bölgesinde görkemli bir şekilde kutlanır. Su üzerine dev platformlar yerleştirilir ve teknelere lazer, ışık, su, ses sistemleri kurulur. Havai fişek gösterileriyle şov tam bir görsel şölene dönüşür. Ayrıca askeri müzelerde ve daha pek çok yerde Mehter Marşı performansları gerçekleşir. Mehter, dünyanın en eski askeri bandolarından olan Yeniçeri bandosunun ritmik hareketlerle yapılan danslı müziğidir. İstanbul'un fethiyle pek çok bilim adamı Avrupa'ya kaçmak zorunda kalmışlar ve Rönesans hareketine ön ayak olmuşlardır. Bu yüzden İstanbul'un fethi Avrupa için aydınlanma çağının miladı da sayılır. Ve şimdi size deminki quizin cevabını vereceğim. Bu tarihi olayın ismi sizce neden Türkçe ve İngilizce'de birbirinden farklıdır? İstanbul'un fethi özellikle Kutsal Roma Cermen İmparatorluğu için bir kayıptır ve Konstantinopol'ün düşüşü olarak anılır. Fakat Osmanlı için büyük bir kazanımdır. Bu sebepten dolayı İstanbul'un fethi olarak geçer. Bu tarihte göreceliğe çok iyi bir örnektir.
I'm Seda and welcome to turkishclass101.com. Today we'll talk about the things you should not do in Turkey. Are you ready? Okay, the number one. You should not talk about politics, sports, especially soccer, football, and religion with Turkish people. Turkish people may be very passionate about these subjects. They may have their own thought, and sometimes not everybody, but most of the Turkish people are very passionate about these subjects. And one minute you are talking about something in politics, the next minute you are arguing. You wouldn't understand how fast you can go from one point A to point B. So to be safe, don't talk about those topics. Some topics you may talk about Turkish food, culture, the places you see, talk about anything but those subjects. Let me check the other one. This one, of course, the things that I say here are the generalizations. We have more than 70 million people, Turkish people living in Turkey. So not everything will apply to everyone, but these are the general Turkish point of views. So when you go into a Turkish home, Turkish people are very cautious about the cleanliness of their houses. So do not enter with your shoes. So especially during these coronavirus times, people are more careful about it. Take your shoes off before you enter. And if you are invited to I don't know, dinner or something like that, try to bring dessert with you. So that's it. The third thing is, when you're visiting mosques, try to be respectful to the people who are doing their prayer, and try not to pass on them. And you need to dress properly with the short shorts and things like that. You cannot go into a mosque even if you're not a Muslim. And if you're a woman, again, even if you're not a Muslim woman, you need to cover your head with something. You can use a scarf like this. You can use something to cover your shoulders. And as I said before, even if you're a man, you should be dressed appropriate. And I think that's for all the prayer places of all the religion. Dress appropriately. So, the gestures, every culture has their own gesture, body language, and one thing may mean something different in some language, and in other languages it's something totally different. I will show you two gestures. One is this. And most of the languages this means okay. I'm not, we agree, but in Turkey, not like this, but when you use it like this, it means you are gay. And it may totally okay for some people, but some people may really get offended by it. So try not to use this. We do this for okay. So if you want to say okay, do this. And there is one thing that it's like a joke in American culture that, I got your nose. You do that gesture. I'm not gonna do it. You can check it out. I got your nose, and you show your fingers, but it means don't do that to any Turkish person. It's an insult. Okay? Don't ever do that. The next one is the Turkish flag. We are very proud citizens of the flag. I don't know. Actually, it's against the law to do something disrespectful to Turkish flag. I don't know about the foreigners, like when they do something like that. What is the the action there? But for Turkish people, you cannot disrespect the Turkish flag. Otherwise, you get a fine, or I don't know what is the action again, but it's against the law. That's what I know, and you may offend a lot of Turkish people with that. The Ramadan and eating outside during Ramadan. As you know, Ramadan is a month of fasting for Muslims all over the world, and since the Muslims use a separate calendar, and as Turkey, we use the Gregorian calendar in our daily life, so Ramadan changes every year. And before, if you are traveling to Turkey, check it out if it's Ramadan during that time, because some places may be closed, and you at least know what to do and what to expect. Normally, the cafes, the restaurants are open, and sometimes some of them close if they are not in a very crowded area because nobody is going. But in most of the touristic places are always open, and people can eat outside. It's not against the law or anything like that. But it's kind of disrespectful if it's the month of Ramadan and especially during summertime and it's very hot outside and you are drinking very cold water and easing your thirst, but there are people over there fasting and having really hard time. Just to be respectful, watch out to Ramadan and just eat and drink inside cafes, restaurant and things like that, or just sit or stand somewhere and drink your water, then go on. Don't put your food and water in people's faces during the month of Ramadan. The next thing, this is again about the religion. I think this may be we can put this to the first thing. Don't talk about Prophet Muhammad in a disrespectful way. You can you can offend a lot of people. Some people may be more understanding, but some people would even pick up a fight with you, the physical fight. So do not say anything about Prophet Muhammad against him in Turkey. About social gestures and social etiquette, I explained this in another video. Some more conservative people, they don't like to talk, men don't like to talk handshake with women, and vice versa. Women don't like to handshake with men. So if you are visiting and you don't know the person in front of you, if you're a man and you are talking to a woman, wait. And if they are showing their hand, if they are showing that it's okay to approach them, you can approach them. But if not, just don't get offended by it. That's the way they live, and just nod or like do this and ask whatever you need to ask and move on. This is for both sexes, so be careful. Some people are more conservative, some people are like don't care about these things, but you don't know the people before meeting them, so just watch out, observe, and act accordingly. Okay, guys? The next thing, this is really nice. Don't ever say no to tea. Yeah, Turkish tea. We love our Turkish tea. Actually, we had a brand. I'm not gonna say its name, but it's a well-known tea brand from the area of Rize, where we have all our tea plants growing there. And this advertisement, they make it like a short video. People are going to a breakfast like in like Sunday or something like that, and they are ordering stuff. And if you don't know that, check it out. But Turkish breakfast is like to kill for. Like we have everything. I think it's one of the richest breakfast you can get in the world. So we have everything. People have everything in their tables, and they, of course, all of them are perfect, but without tea, it's nothing. And they're asking for tea, and the waiter says there's no tea, and they're like, no, is it getting ready? Like, because there's no such a thing. You are going to a breakfast place, you are going somewhere, and there's no tea. It's not possible. It's like people are like, what? What do you mean? And the guy says, here is milk. And their reactions are so funny. Every time I see that, I crack myself, and it's so funny because it's true. It's like breakfast and no tea, breakfast and no tea, breakfast, and we are eating something and no tea. That's not possible. So if you are offered a tea, say thank you and drink it. Okay, so let's see. This is not for all Turkey, but with the big cities such as Istanbul. I had a video about that, how to live in the prices to live in Turkey. I based it in Istanbul. Check it out if you didn't check it already. And I was talking there, especially the cities like Istanbul, the big cities. It's not very wise to rent a car and get a taxi because there is a traffic problem. Renting a car is expensive, and it's very hard to park the cars, and you have to pay for the park as well. So it's not very wise. You can walk, you can use the public transportation. We have both sides in Istanbul, for example. You can take the ferries and so on. And I have details that in my other video. You can check it out. And for the taxis, of course, some places you may need to get by taxi. But please check that video as well, because you need to know how much would it normally cost. Not all of them, but some taxi drivers may try to take advantage of tourists to take them the wrong way, the long way. And you need to be smart about these things. I think it's the same in every, country. The tourists, some people are trying to rob the tourists, but be careful and you'll be okay. So this is about Turkish food. Is amazing. Maybe I'm biased, but I think it's we have the Anatolian culture, the Balkans, the Greeks, the Arabs, we have a lot of cultures mixed in Anatolia, so we have a variety of different food, and it's delicious. And you can't get really bad. You can't, wherever you eat, it's gonna be good. But touristic places are generally more expensive and not very genuine. Ask the locals and look at the locals and where they eat. Don't follow the tourists and where they eat. Follow the locals and you'll find great food. And other than that, Turkish people are very welcoming and we love tourists, so you'll be okay, I think. Just watch out these facts and you'll do fine. And please leave some comments below. Have you ever visited Turkey? What are your experiences, good or bad? Leave them below so people can share and be careful about each other's experiences. So, I thank you for that. I will see you next time. Bye!
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.